Well, it was from the very beginning. They said we want to finish by 18th October, and so the question is that at the moment, what is appearing is that the Sunni Waqf Board lawyer seems to be just repeating himself and replying to replies. So it's sort of almost like as if he's just doing filibustering. But the fact is the court is the one that is to manage the time, and so they have been very strict with everybody, and they have said very clearly. I was there this morning, session 2, and the court was very, very strict that we just want to hear any new arguments you want to do or some new rebuttals, but we don't want to hear the same thing over and over again. And I think basically everybody is exhausted. They only one item is left, and that is my writ petition on which I am arguing on fundamental rights. So far the parties have been arguing on the property rights, but the fundamental rights argument is superior to the property rights question, and so if the court accepts that yes, I have a fundamental right, then our getting the victory in the Ram Mandir matter is certain.
Dr. Swamy, if I can also ask you with regards to these arguments that we have seen over the last couple of weeks, where we have seen how the Hindu parties have also time and again basically spoken about two very crucial aspects before the Supreme Court to claim the possession of the disputed land. You've had your position on this entire matter. It is a clear reflection that as far as both the parties are concerned, Rajiv Dhawan, as in the past also you've criticized by saying that he is essentially just trying to delay this entire matter. There was an attempt perhaps made to essentially delay this entire matter, but now it is the end game that we are looking at.
Well, I think you see, this is the senior most judges have come together in a 5-judge bench, and you know they enjoy great prestige and authority. And therefore, I would say that one should expect that they will be able to maintain the discipline of the court. And so I think what we are having today is almost the final situation. I mean, we have come to a kind of finality. Now they are going for a holiday, and this holiday is something which will give the judges also time to write at least part of the judgment, and then thereafter we can look forward to a final judgment sometime in the middle of November. I think everything has gone off very smoothly. I must congratulate the Supreme Court, especially the Chief Justice and his colleagues. They have been so patient. They have sat through from morning to evening, 5 days a week, sometimes 6 days a week. So all this put together, I think we have a situation where we are going to have a judgment, and I'm sure that if my fundamental rights question is decided in my favor, then there is no argument left, because everything else is an inferior right. It's an ordinary property right, is an ordinary right, and the right to pray is a fundamental right.
Well, Dr. Swamy, if I can also ask you with regards to the arguments that have been put forth by Rajiv Dhawan, you've been extremely critical on various grounds. I would also like our viewers to know exactly why do you think, when it comes to the arguments that have been put forth by Rajiv Dhawan, there is at least an amount of criticism, large criticism that has been drawn in, and especially the emerging war of words that we have seen in the court taking place between the Hindu parties as well as the Muslim parties. If you could elaborate a little bit with regards to the argument that has been put forth all this while, and you have had a clear message on this entire matter.
Well, see, the Supreme Court has already in 1994 said that the Babri Masjid, like masjids, have no essentiality. You see, masjid is just a place to read namaz. And that's why if you go to Google and type masjids demolished in Saudi Arabia or Qatar or Turkey, you will get a long list because it is held that except for 3 masjids or 3 places, one is Makkah and the other is Medina and third is the that rock near the Al-Aqsa Mosque. These 3 are where Muhammad is directly being seen, and therefore they have a special status. But all other mosques in every other country, including in Saudi Arabia and other countries, they are buildings for reading namaz. And namaz can be read anywhere. They are read on the open roads. They are read in the airports. They are read in the drawing rooms. Sometimes you will see even namaz being read on an aeroplane. So therefore, that fundamental argument, he could not get around it. That mosque, Babri Masjid Mosque, was just a mosque, and it can be shifted. It can be broken. Of course, authorizedly, mobs cannot do it, but that would be a breakdown of the law and order. So, whereas the mandir is a place where God resides, and therefore it is in a totally different category. And that fundamental distinction he was not able to do, except to go on asserting, no, all this ultimately goes to Allah. But that's not what the Muslim clerics say. And the Muslim countries, they are very clear. Turkey has said many times that building a road is more important than a mosque, and they shifted mosques left, right and center.
Dr. Swamy, if I also would like to press upon this entire matter, before the deadline was actually set by the Supreme Court as October 18th in the past, the mediation channel was also opened, and there was a huge development that came in at that point in time. Republic TV had reported that with regards to this entire mediation, we've seen that it was on the right track, but something certainly went wrong. That's when the court intervened and said that mediation channel should also be open. How do you essentially view this entire mediation channel being open? Was there perhaps an attempt to sidetrack this entire mediation channel in the past?
Well, mediation has been done by Chandrasekhar when he was Prime Minister. In fact, I was the one who negotiated with Shahid Shabuddin. We are both General Secretaries of the Janata Party, but he was also Chairman of the Babri Masjid Action Committee. And then later on during Narasimha Rao's period, and Narasimha Rao has in fact written me a letter which I have enclosed amongst the documents I have filed with the Supreme Court this time, where he thanked me for all the efforts I made, and that he said he would be in touch. And then when I got the matter listed, after 7 years of no listing, I went before Justice K.R. Singh. He also asked me to find a mediation, to try mediation first. I tried, and then of course a committee formally was set up, 3-man committee. I appeared before that on the direction of the Supreme Court, and ultimately nothing came out of it, because the fundamental problem which the Muslim community, Muslim leaders privately tell me, is that if we make a compromise, then most people in our community, so emotional they will accuse us of having made a deal and got some money out of it, or some accusation will come. So it's better that the court gives a verdict. So that's why the mediation efforts have always failed. I am 100% certain that when the judgment comes, and if it is in the favor of building a temple, the Muslim community will accept it. Because they will feel, well, the courts have decided and we have to accept it, like they have accepted triple talaq, for example. So therefore, I think mediation is not necessary here when there's high emotions are involved. And the Muslim grievance is partly because they think that their masjid was demolished, and then soon other masjids will be demolished. That kind of fear is there, and others are stoking that flare. But I think you will find that once this Ram temple matter is decided by the court, you will find that there will be much more peace between Muslims and Christians, or Muslims and Hindus than before.
Well, Dr. Swamy, you've also called this entire mediation process a sterile exercise. And if I can quote you, you said that there is absolutely no use of all these parameters have already been set up by the central government. The land belongs to the government. And even if the Waqf board wins the title suit, they are not going to get the land. At the most, they get the compensation. Dr. Swamy, this has been your stand on this entire matter. If I could also elaborate a little bit, we are perhaps looking at the verdict coming in sometime in November. It is certainly going to be a huge setback for this entire delay gang, because it becomes amply clear by the fact that there have been certain sections who deliberately wanted this entire verdict to be delayed for whatever reasons. But it's absolutely clear now that we're looking at a clear headway, a clear verdict coming out, something that you've also been advocating, and you've said this mediation channel is nothing but an sterile exercise.
Yeah. I did say that, and I was proved right, because I'd been in mediation during Chandrasekhar's period, within Narasimha Rao's period, and now in the recent past. And I know the difficulties the Muslim community have. But the people who are going to be most disappointed are these pseudo-secular Hindus who have been receiving fees and appearing for them in courts. They are the ones who seem to be emotionally very wrought about this and losing. In fact, they are losing temper in the court. One of the advocates appearing for them wanted the court to deny me the right to speak. I'm listed as a petitioner. And it is I who got the date fixed, in fact. Nothing had happened for 7 years. And I have a long history of fighting for Ram Setu, and then during the Narasimha Rao period and Chandrasekhar period. But so, therefore, the problem is not from the Muslim community. They will take it, as in the right spirit. I don't expect anything. Of course, terrorists and militants and all that, they don't count as human beings, so I won't bother. But the people who are really going to be heartbroken is the so-called super secular or pseudo secular intellectuals of India.
Well, thank you very much, Dr. Swamy, for speaking to Republic TV. That was certainly a candid chat. As far as this verdict is concerned, Dr. Swamy says it is perhaps the pseudo-seculars who would certainly not be happy. Perhaps finally, we'll look at some sort of a closure as far as this matter is concerned. A decade-long battle that we have seen. Finally, there is a headway that we are looking towards.
Right. Right. Okay. Thank you.